it's just kind of a boring package.
Such a boring package. Press out and you wait.
Yep.
I mean, in some occasions, yeah, sure, you press out and you win game kind of situation, but this is where you gotta have, you know, delayed gratification out of your Dominator's descent. I mean, you know, to a certain extent, I can dig that, you know. You gotta have to wait for good things to come, or good things come to those who wait. Yeah, sure. But for Zask, is that going to be banned by Team Liquid Philippines or not? Because RSG Philippines definitely did manage to pilot that Zask pretty much to perfection. And I wouldn't be too surprised if RSGPH would want to first pick that Zask.
I don't think
First pick is a bit greedy.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're gonna leave it open.
Okay, so that could be a possibility for Sanji to actually pick that up instead. With the first pick available for either the Moskov, Juicin, those are all available, or, okay, Hayabusa is going to be that case. That means Team Liquid, they actually do have quite a lot of options.
I think they should go Zask Roger or Zask Edith here.
Roger is banned.
Okay, so
So-
Zask
Zask Edith.
Edith.
What about the Julian though?
Oh, okay.
Actually no.
How about the Moskov though?
Yeah, thinking about it, you don't need to go Julian, because like RSG already picked their assassin. You can leave that for a little bit later. Prioritizing things like the Edith, like the Zask, like the Moskov, as you mentioned, would probably be higher value.
I mean, we have been seeing the Edith being picked up by Team Liquid quite a lot, as Eterna has mentioned before. So we wouldn't be too surprised that Team Liquid PH need to go back to the basics, which is exactly as what we were looking out for, except for the Zask part. The Moskov and the Edith is going to be the one that has been picked up. So at least they have they pretty much covered quite a lot of angles, whereby they have crowd control, lockdown, damage potential, cross-map plays that is currently available too.
Because I think the two main problems that we saw from game number one has either got to be either the Edith, that was able to pick up the MVP, by the way, in the hands of Nibor, as well as the Zask. So from this, we can identify that Team Liquid, they are seeing that as a problem, right? They see it as a problem. It's also a big flex for them to utilize themselves. Sanford himself in the EXP lane requires a hero with a little bit more playmaking capacity. So that's something that the Edith can offer. And that flex again, right? So now, what do we think about this, right? Terizla as well as the Harriet, these are big priority heroes, as with the Julian follow-up.
Interesting. We're not actually going to see the Zask here. I actually
First
figured
phase.
RSG might want to go for it, but I suppose without the easy setup that they had previously in the form of the Edith, it does become a little harder to execute on that. And they're probably anticipating that Liquid is preparing a counter for it. Like, the reason they would let it through is because they're ready to deal with it, and so they go for Terizla Harif instead.
There is quite a lot of flex option coming from Team Liquid Philippines, whereby Edith could go to EXP or roam, while Julian could go to mid or jungle. All of these are all still applicable. While Team Liquid definitely put out quite a bit of respect over to Light, because he definitely played phenomenally when it comes down to that Kufra, constantly just picking out onto the Lancelot over and over and over again. So there also still be more possibility that Team Liquid PH is actually setting themselves up for more of these dashy heroes. And to be honest, when it comes down to RSG Philippines, they have a lot of dashy heroes too.
The Zask gonna be locked in here. Liquid didn't ban it. They knew they had priority going into the second phase, so they're gonna have access to a very powerful mid lane hero that will ensure much easier rotations from the Julian and the Edith. RSG really need to make sure that their mid laner is going to be able to match.
For sure, for sure. They got to think about this right now, right? And they also have to think about the fact that right now, honestly, TLPH, they have a lot of magic damage coming through for them. But the only thing that I would think that they would require is a little bit more setup in terms of their composition. I think, would you like this Edith in the Roma, or would you like this Edith in the EXP at this point?
I think keeping it flexible is the highest value actually, because it means that they can see what the enemy EXP lane is and decide what Sanford will
Good
have.
battery! I love this battery coming in from the Carmilla and the Hayabusa. In fact, from the previous stream, we did see before that the opponent's Moskov was actually chained by the Curse of Blood and popping off with the Wind of Nature. The Ogi Shadow Kill plus Curse of Blood combination still went through the Wind of Nature.
Yeah, it's actually a great combination. Curse of Blood just generally works well with any hero that's able to spread out a high amount of damage at once, so Hayabusa, and works very well with heroes that are able to apply lots of CC at once. So the Aurora as well, meaning that RSG are going to have a very solid team fight, but also means that they won't have quite as aggressive a first couple of minutes as Game 1.
Wow, the
Let's
lack
see.
of mobility. That is what I'm looking out for from the side of Team Liquid Philippines. They do have quite a bit of lack of mobility aside from the Moskov. So at least when it comes down to the Camilla pick, it becomes super high value.
I agree. A lot of the heroes from the side of TLPH are very committing heroes, right? They want to dive into these team fights, and they also want to dish out the damage when they do. And I think that is going to be a big problem. We saw the Moskov having trouble even though he has the double dash setup coming through. And that's something that is scary, right? What's the plan now for TLPH? Are they going in for a little bit more team fight with the Tigreal? Because if they do in a 5v5, there's just so much AoE from the side of RSGPH. They have drafted in a way that has put them on top if they commit to it.
Not gonna lie, RSGPH draft is scary. Pretty much covers every single weaknesses that they may have in the lineup. They have single target they have single target burst, they have lockdown, crowd control, everything that is just jam-packed in this kit. So would this actually end up in a 2-0 for RSG Philippines and keep them alive in this red group? We'll see to find out.
That is going to be the question that we all want answers to. Thank you again, Abstract. We'll catch up with you later as we jump straight into game number 2. RSG Philippines on the blue side currently 1 game up and already causing a bit of havoc in the mid lane against Liquid on the red side.
See, this is surprising, right? Because usually in this kind of situation and in this kind of lane, we would expect that Sanji on the Zask would have a little bit more room to work with and a little bit better of a wave clear, but it looks like Sanji is the one that's getting caught quite behind, and this is a really good start to the game here for RSG Philippines. I think the first thing that really caught my eye as we entered the Land of Dawn and as we entered the portal was 3 Purifies given over for RSGPH. That's a lot of respect, and they understand that JP is going to be able to find these moments, but a lot of aggression already in the bottom side of the map.
Carl TZ taking a lot of damage. He'll hit level 4 first. His health drops low, no more resources on RSG, so not able to punish that, and that means Carl will have that EXP lead straight away.
That's going to be a problem, right? What's RSGPH's idea here with their drafts? Are they waiting for that level 4 power spike? Are they going to let this neutral objective go? Because if that's the case, then this is fine. Are they looking for more kills? If that's the case, then that's fine. But if they're looking for neutral objective takes, I think Irad needs to catch up a lot quicker because Carl TZ will have a better time when it comes down to it. But look at these predictions. 86% for TLPH. So we can already conclude that this has been a huge upset.
Yeah, a lot of the audience agreed with us in saying that Liquid should have the better chances here. RSG definitely catching everyone off guard, but a nice freeze, great combo onto the Tigreal. JP dropping so low, and that is going to be first blood given to Irad. A nice 3-man gang. Amazing way to start this off, because now they're gonna have to buy a little bit more time for JP to come back into the game and to help set up for this neutral objective take. Oh, and the fact that he actually utilized his Purify there. So that's a big resource spent, and that's a big resource that they desperately need when they want to go in for these 5v5 to get that neutral objective. This puts RSG Philippines in a better position in that regard. It means they don't have to worry about the flicker implosion for a little bit, but they do still need to contest the turtle, because you can see Irad actually trying to go for some farm, which means Liquid are currently in control of it. Penalty zone comes in, Carl gets the turtle. Curse of Blood comes out on 3 members. Actually, Frigid Frost doing a lot of damage. Sanji forced to jump out of his ultimate, dropping real low on Carl TZ as well. He'll be able to get out alive, and RSG will immediately back off. I don't think they need to re-engage this.
Oh?
Ooh, Irad gets caught. Earth Shattered. Do they want Sanford? He still has his ult, so yeah, probably not.
Okay, that was a 1-for-1 trade, right? Team Liquid PH, they were able to get that turtle in the hands of Carl TZ, who had a EXP lead over. But what's going on in the top side there? Is Sanford in trouble?
Yeah, it's a 1v2 here, but he has
No
Primal
way.
Wrath. We know how strong Edith is when you got that full Wrath. Nibor and Aqua actually both have to back off and recall against Sanford alone.
Oh, wow. That's a baby 40 for you.
Oh.
Still able to get out of there as well. The outplays coming in buys them a little bit more time as TLPH. They focus their, attentions elsewhere here. I think they're looking for a better trade in the bottom side, trying to help Benny Cutie get to that power spike quicker.
Sanford definitely felt good about that one, though. Considering what happened to them in Game 1, that's a little bit of payback over to RSG Philippines. And now 4 minutes in, we can see that the net worth difference is not that high, which looks a lot better for Liquid, considering their performance so far.
Yeah, I would agree, right? TLPH, they're putting up a fight here. They understand the winning conditions of their composition, and they're not going too heavy in these trades, right? They're not playing into the traps that RSGPH have set for them like they did in game number 1. And this is starting off quite good for the first 4 minutes of the game. And even in the lane, right, we do see that Benny QT has respected. Wait a second, did he get that?
I think he did. If I saw correctly, he was able to secure that. And that means that RSG has a little bit of priority in the bottom lane to contest this turtle. They're actually going to give up a little bit of gold shield up top because Nibor has already started rotating over. And that means this could be a good setup. JP and Sanji, the only ones here right now. Turtle getting blitz. Implosion comes in with the Sacred Hammer. Only catches light though. That's not going to be enough along with the knockup. A Curse of Blood going to land means JP is taken down. Carl falls right afterwards. Double kill to the Harry. Frigid Frost doesn't catch anyone, but forces Sanford back. Does he actually live this? Nope, he's gonna explode to the Terizla. And that's 3 kills really quickly to RSG.
That was a 4-0 trade stuff. Irad, he was able to get that neutral objective take. He was able to get that turtle for himself, and then they win in the team fight. I don't really understand the idea that TLPH was going for with that exchange earlier on, because they went in one by one, was taken down one by one. They were scattered, they were behind in the setup, and then they lost everything with that. That's a 2k goldie now for RSGPH.
JP 100% expected to catch more people with that implosion. It seemed like RSG were so close together, but he only caught light. Basically the worst person to catch out of everyone. And then Liquid kind of committed onto it since JP had already gone in and got caught by Curse of Blood, which combos really well with the rest of RSG, which means lots of damage.
Here's the thing, right? As you were talking about that, there's something about the Tigreal that requires you to have someone else in your composition that has a big crowd control skill, right? Either be the Terizla or the Lapu Lapu or even the Ruby that was banned out earlier, right? Because with 3 members from the side of RSG Philippines holding on to the Purify, that in itself actually is able to negate the pressure that JP is supposed to have. And when they were caught in the same position, when TLPH was caught in the same position, they at least had the Terizla. So either Terizla would open up to bait out the Purify and then JP would come in later, or vice versa. But with this composition that they brought, they don't have that much of leeway to layer the CC skills to bait out these Purifies, and then we don't really find the value of the implosions anymore.
You need a lot of game control and coordination, basically, to be able to force out the Purifies before the setup, which I think RSG already were aware of. A beautiful dodge by Irad. Wasted Flicker Implosion. Such an important cooldown for Liquid. PH is gone. There's no way they can contest this turtle anymore. I don't think they should risk it. RSG is just gonna stand there menacingly and get it for free.
And unfortunately, in the bottom side of the map, they went in for the clear already, right? So Benny QT couldn't even find a trade to get that tower in the bottom side. Okay, he was able to get out there with a sliver of time as Hussein was able to walk into that bush. But again, right, RSGPH, they're picking up the time, they're picking up the momentum, and now Team Liquid PH are scrambling for scraps.
I can't believe this has turned out this way. RSG. Turns out they don't need to rely on early game cheese tactics either. This draft is really clean. Gameplay is good. They know exactly what they're doing, and they are slowly whittling down Team Liquid Philippines.
Yeah, they're so good at understanding TLPH, right? I don't know if that's really good prep coming into this matchup, or what, right? Or they woke up and they chose violence today. Because every time TLPH go in for something to look for a trade, it feels like RSGPH, there's 2 steps ahead. And the fact that they've been able to play out these team fights rather perfectly with the way that they're comboing and layering their skills has been fantastic. RSGPH, what did you guys eat for breakfast today?
That's what I want to know. It seems like the breakfast of champions, if you ask me. Instantly concealed. They see Sanford and Kaltizi out of position. They want to engage on it, but here comes JP and Sanji. RSG maybe not in the best spot, but penalty zone finds 2. We can see Kaltizi going to be able to use that enhanced sword to get out. Ogi Shadow Kill doesn't quite do enough damage. Irad actually staying under the tower, maybe a bit too long. Costs him his life. Sanford onward, finds Nibor, doesn't have the Earth Shatter follow-up. Team Liquid low, but they're able to slowly separate RSG, forcing the flicker out from the Edith. Nibor has to get out of here. Zaman Force allows Kusei to pick off Sanford. Light also gonna be picked off, and Kusei gonna be shut down. This could be bad. RSG losing members left and right. Team Liquid finding the opportunity they've been waiting for. The passive on Aqua only delays his demise. And Team Liquid find 4 for 1.
Did you see Benny QT, Staffa? Did you see the way that he weaved in and weaved out of that team fight? He didn't have his Holy Trinity, and he was still able to do that. Now he does, though, with those many kills under his belt, with those assists under his belt, he has built in that DHS, and this could be the turning point that TLPH has waited for and has severely needed from the first 9 minutes of the game.
A fight like that completely resets advantages you have, and we are seeing that. Team Liquid have already evened up the net worth. And that is what they're playing for. We already know how scary Moskov can be once he finishes those items. So RSG may have just made a massive blunder.
Yeah, the Team Liquid PH, they adjusted really well, right? They understood that when things get a little bit chaotic, when these team fights get a little bit chaotic for RSGPH, when they're able to bait out these resources before they go in and commit for it, that's when they shine and that's when they come out on top, and they were able to do that. So there needs to be a way, and there needs to be a situation where they can replicate that kind of success, because the fact that Nibor already used his penalty zone, the fact that Aqua already used in her ultimate as well, allowed Benny QT to come into the team fight able to weave in and weave out and dish out the damage that he was supposed to have in these team fights.
I don't know if Irad made like some kind of misplay as well, because he just stayed under the tower for way too long. He was the first one taken out on RSG's side, and that just gave a green light to Liquid to slowly edge forward. And we need to not see that again, because now, just with that single victory, Liquid are able to take control of RSG's jungle.
They have a 3,000 gold lead now as well, right? So completely tables turns, right? The tables have turned for the side of Team Liquid PH just over that momentum. And the fact that now we can see Benny QT with the Holy Trinity. Kusei doesn't even have Holy Crystal just yet, right? He only has 2 items under his belt. He's on the way to it. But in these team fights, what do you think, right? Do you think that RSG Philippines still have an advantage?
RSG's draft is definitely still better somewhat in terms of direct 5v5, just because of how well Carmilla, Aurora, and Hayabusa work together in terms of doing damage. But if Liquid are able to properly control their approach, we've already seen that they are able to separate RSG and take them out one by one. So it is going to be a bit of a skill matchup here.
Yeah, I agree with you. It just makes this even more precarious with the way that they've set up, right? It looks like it's not as straightforward as we would expect for TLPH. I would say that the win cons for TLPH and their composition is a lot more difficult as compared to RSGPH. So they have a little bit of homework, but it looks like Aqua's feeling it, by the way. Do you see his item? I think he went in with a movement speed boots, actually. So very aggressive build. He understands that he needs to be very... he needs to think about the way that he positions in these team fights a lot better. And then he goes in for Sky Piercer on top of everything.
He's the one in charge of stifling momentum on the enemy side, and as long as he's able to hit someone, Sky Piercer can proc, so having the most AoE does make sense to go for that, though if it doesn't work out, could be greedy. Conceal gonna be used at a kind of strange timing, actually. Penalty zone catches out JP. JP on top of Light. Curse of Blood not available just yet, so Kaltizi gonna be able to get the lore. Zaman Force gonna be used up just to clear up the Dominator's descent. Nibor, though, gonna be abandoned by himself, so Benny Cutie finishes him off. Fear of Destruction connects in the backline. Irad already picked off. JP jumping in front to stop RSG from escaping, sacrificing his immortality to do so, and getting Light in exchange. Carl!
Whoa.
Jumping straight into the base. That's a double kill for Kaltizi. And he just stands there. Oh! The Winter Crown to avoid being frozen as well. The man still got it.
He does. He bought that just in time for him to evade that damage. And it looks like with 4 members down, TLPH are looking in for the kill.
Yep, the Lord's crashing down. It's a 5v1. There is nothing Aqua can do. It is going to be a 1-to-1 as Liquid Echo returns the favor against RSG Philippines.